Have you ever lied? Of course you have. We've all lied from time to time. But have you ever lied on your resume? What about to a judge? Or maybe to Congress? Well, if you've lied on your resume, we get it. Jobs can be hard to come by these days. But if you've lied to a judge or to Congress, then you may need to lawyer up, like right now. Where can you get a good lawyer to help you with this? Well, I guess you could ask George Santos if you could borrow his lawyer for a bit, since he also lied to a judge and to Congress. What lies did he tell? Listen and find out tonight on I Do Not Trust This Person, The Many Lies of George Santos. So, have you ever lied on your resume?
No.
On your current resume, for sure not officially.
No, I don't
For
think
anybody listening.
I honestly, I do not recall ever lying on my resume. As I've gotten older, I've gotten smarter about how to phrase things
Yeah.
so that they, not like overly embellished or anything like that, but just, how they tell you that you're supposed to phrase things in a certain way to get past the stupid
It's like human
AI,
resources
whatever.
AI filter they have now,
That
by the
stupid
way.
stuff.
That exists. Ugh.
So I've done that, but I've never outright lied because I'm not a good liar. So if I were to be asked about like, oh, tell me about this job, that would not go well. So no, absolutely not. But apparently it's something people do.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm the dummy for missing out.
Yeah, I see TikToks all the time about like, use your friends as, or even yourself as a reference. Just do a different voice, make up fake companies. Say when they ask you, oh, here's where you get out. Well, here's your workaround for not being able to act is just say you signed an NDA. Like this, then they can't ask you anything about it. It's like I can't talk about it.
No, I wouldn't.
I was
It's not that I
you are a
can't
contractor
act.
or you are a consultant.
It's not
and
that I
that's
can't
it.
act. It's I cannot lie.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, can you lie and say I signed an NDA? It's like how many
I would feel
words is
so
that?
stupid saying. I would feel so like
Disingenuous.
imposter syndrome saying that, and unethical saying that. Like,
Yeah, because you have a soul.
well, no.
No.
But here's the thing. It genuinely it's because I do not lie well. I do not begrudge, I don't think. Wait, now I have to think this through. Do I think it's okay to lie on your resume?
Yeah, someone in management, that's hard. But I say it is because you oftentimes do have the skills. You've been met with this yourself, like to like you have the skills to do a job, but for some reason they may not think you are qualified just because of the, position that you are in. Like I'd argue that most people who've ever worked in fast food are fully qualified to be, any sort of prison guard or any sort of just
That's a weird leap that you just made.
like to be able to put up with the most shit. That's what I mean. Like they are, that was a leap. I was like, wait, did I make the right leap? No, it's so they can, they can put up like, I mean, there's apparently I found out Austin is home to the Waffle House that where that girl had the chair thrown at her, and she caught it and I think threw it back at the guy. Like fantastic video if you've never seen it. But
so to that point, that's where I would say I haven't lied, but maybe gotten creative with describing what I've done, which is, I think that's fine. Like if you had a job where you did something and that skill is transferable to another job,
sure.
And you can explain it in a way that is creative to try to get across the point that I am qualified for the job I'm applying for because at this other job I did XYZ. That's fine. Outright lying though, I feel like I don't know. But at the same time, I know that corporate America is a bunch of bullshit and
exactly. And
trying
there's
to
AI
get through
filters
these
you gotta
AI
get through.
filters is bullshit. Like, and I interview in my job and it's just, I feel like the whole interview process is not that's a whole nother episode. But
it's flawed to say the least.
So I don't know. I don't think I'm okay with it though.
Yeah. Well, Are you okay with maybe lying to a judge?
No.
No? Yeah, 'cause that's against the law. How about lying to Congress?
That seems like a bad idea.
It is. You go to jail for like
That
a
seems like a
long
really
time
bad idea.
sometimes, if not always. Well, our friend George did both of those things. One of them, while we're talking about lying on your resume, is the big one. That he did do that. He claimed to work at Goldman Sachs and Citigroup, yet did not. He claimed this under oath too, while testifying in some sort of case that we're going to get to in a different episode, where it's a fraud case. Yeah, he claimed to work at Citigroup, Met Global, and Goldman Sachs. Good Lord, man. Like the three biggest companies.
This
financial
entire
firms.
resume is a lie.
And so what do you do for work?
I'm a aspiring politician and I work for Goldman Sachs.
You work for Goldman Sachs in New York?
Oh, yeah. The resume, by the way, is in the description of this episode. Thank you, New York Times, for providing that. It is all a lie. The whole way down.
Because
Even his Baruch
the
College
education,
stuff.
because
Yeah.
we talked about this. He didn't go to Baruch College. He didn't go to NYU. Those are both on
all
his
lies. Yeah.
resume.
Mhm.
He didn't work at Citigroup. He didn't work at Met Global,
Nope.
right?
Now, what he claims he did is that he worked with at least Citigroup and Goldman Sachs. Met Global, I think, might have been the same case, in some sort of consulting capacity. And never through his tenure at Linkbridge, where he basically.
Is that one real?
That is real.
Okay.
But even then, is it though? I don't know.
This resume is bullshit. Let me just tell you something. Okay, so he starts out as an asset manager associate, which to me sounds like he's just like taking
It's like calling yourself a guru at
inbound
any job.
calls,
Yeah.
helping customers do, that. I mean, that's an entry level job.
Was that for Spectrum though?
That was for Citigroup.
Oh, okay, not because he did actually work for. I think it was Spectrum.
Then at Met Global, he's a business development manager, which is again a very basic job. That's not a high end or high level job. Then he goes into project manager, okay, and then he goes into
Vague.
vice president.
Oh
That
yeah,
makes
his
no
own of the
sense.
DeVolder organization, right? Is that the one
That's
where he's vice
Linkbridge.
Oh, that's
Investors.
Linkbridge.
He's
I think
vice
that is
president.
his own company. I could be wrong, but correct us.
I'm
in
not
the
being an
comments.
asshole to anyone out there who is a business development manager,
No,
but
that's a
it's
real
just
thing.
like a normal sales, like a normal level job. It's not, you don't go from that to being a vice president. But also he
president,
didn't do that job, so it doesn't even
He
matter.
didn't
This
do that job either.
conversation is
One thing
useless.
he really actually did do, he was a customer service person for Spectrum, and he which I believe was the New York Times or someone referred to it as an odd job, which screw you, New York Times or whoever referred to it that way. That's a real job that people work. But he,
I mean, that's
from
a job that a lot of people
work. So, but according to Patch, one of the people they interviewed worked with him. Oh, Dish Network. I'm sorry, not Spectrum. Basically the same thing. They're all cartels. But she said that he used to say that he was born in Brazil, and that he would travel back and forth, and that he came from money, which is not true. We're gonna get to a lot of that later. She remained friends with him after he left Dish Network. Then he said he started our good old animal rescue group. What was it called? Oh my gosh, Friends of Animals or something stupid like that. And
does Dish Network still exist?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's. I mean, I don't think they exist here in Austin because we have like, I'm not going to give them their names. It gives them false promotion that I don't want to give them. But yeah, we have like 3 basic companies here.
Satellite instead of cable because you can get more international channels.
Yeah, I mean, is that? Yeah, I guess it still exists. I don't know anybody that has Dish
Direct
Network.
TV, aren't they the other
That's the other one. I think that
satellite provider?
are they I don't know. If you have them, let us know. That sounds great. I guess from what I understand, you can't like watch TV in storms or something. Didn't you have it growing up? Like it was a storm would knock out your TV, right?
I think we had Dish Network because we wanted on Dish Network they had the Brazilian channel that we could get, and yeah, every time there was a storm, it wouldn't work.
See, yeah, no, that's why
sucked.
cable much better.
And in Houston, in Texas, you get a lot of
hurricanes
like
all the time, especially Houston.
Yeah,
My
you get a lot of
God.
thunderstorms and intense summer storms. So yeah, it would go out all the
The
time.
only time you can watch TV, well, you want to watch TV during the summer, like, oh yeah, you can't do that. It was Friends of Pets United. That was his terrible, illegitimate pet scam that he was running. But he would ask for donations via PayPal, and then yeah, so that's that. He did not work for any of those things. He did work for Dish Network, and that's the only truth it seems on his resume. Is that even on his resume? Do you have it up in front of you?
No, Dish Network
Network's
is
not on his resume. Well, through all of that stuff, he did go ahead and lie one more time to an even bigger government body than just a judge. No offense to judges. You're all fantastic. Some of you, mostly all of you are bad. But he did, though, lie to Congress even before he took his seat. He lied and said that he made, was that $750,000, or he had $750,000 in his bank account, which, how much was that? Yes, $750,000 salary from the DeVolder Corporation. He said that he had received $1,001, or between $1 million and $1 and $5 million in dividends from the DeVolder organization as well. This is all according to the Department of Justice, by the way, who's actively investigating him for doing all of these things, as well as several Ponzi schemes we're going to get to in a different episode.
Well, and he lent his campaign more than $700,000 during the midterm elections.
That's a bunch of other money stuff we'll talk about towards the end. But yeah, so lied and to me, the lying to Congress about saying you have all this money is trying to, there's a lot of Congress people that are, they're not that wealthy. They make a salary, but there's several, I think, that live together in Washington, D.C. because it's so impossible to, one, get an affordable house there, and two, low-level Congress people, their salaries are low. But to me, this just seemed like vanity. Like he wanted to see like he was as rich as all of his GOP colleagues and everything like that. And that's why we get, George now possibly, well, they're not going to put him in jail at this point. He clearly lied to Congress. So I don't know, like, unless they need his actual financial documents, who knows?
Wait, so are we talking about money on a different episode?
We can keep talking about it here. Yeah.
No, I'm just curious because, okay, so he lied to Congress. He perjured himself around his resume, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then also on a bunch of money stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
The more money things we're going to get to in his Ponzi scheme episode, because
oh god, there's even more.
Oh, there is so much more, and then like I said, Ponzi scheme that I think even the DOJ calls it that. Like he's being investigated for all of this. I think is under all of the 13 indictments that he was arrested for back in May, right before we launched the show. And yeah, we're going to get to a lot of those in a future episode, as well as...
at this point, this show is never going to end because I feel like every time I Google George Santos, there's something new.
Yeah. There was the thing the other day. It was his aide. This could have gone in grab bag next week, but his aide... pretended to be the top aide to Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, and basically, I think he was trying to do fundraising on behalf of quote unquote George Santos as an aide for Kevin McCarthy, or he was just still pretending to be him as it is. That's basically pretending to be a cop or the president or a Senate. Like it's illegal.
Yeah. Well, I just Googled him, and there's another headline from the AP News. A former fundraiser for George Santos has been charged with wire fraud and identity theft.
Oh my God. So this is live in the moment that we have just found out.
He's one of those people who just has, it's like Trump. You know how Trump just is surrounded by people that are constantly.
He's a mobster.
Over the past 8 years, he's just, and hopefully now his time is coming.
Yeah.
But George Santos is like that.
Way.
He is now surrounding himself with people who
dude, George is our age, man. George, if you're listening, maybe you are, like, don't do this anymore. Stop surrounding yourself with all of these people. Like, you are going to put yourself, like, Don got away with this for so long because he was Teflon Don. He got away with everything because he's slick. He knows how to talk. You do not have the riz that Donald Trump has.
No.
You are going to go to jail. You've already got,
Ooh.
like, you so publicly, oh God.
I just found a fun article.
Dumb.
From the Daily Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, George did a interview on Friday.
Oh boy.
The 18th, where he claimed that most people lie on their resume. So, what's the big deal? People still would have voted for him even if the false credentials weren't listed. Those are insecurities, he said, about the resume lies. A lot of people have insecurities. Most people lie on their resumes.
No.
And then the anchor accused him of lying about everything, and he said, that's not true. I want to be judged by the people who elected me.
Oh, they are, and they are actively trying to recall you, I think. The Republican Party is in your district is trying to recall you. Oh, man, George. Wow, you are something else. Well, that's the end of this, basically, because
I'm telling you, we could stay here forever.
We could, yeah. I mean, just keep hitting refresh on Google News or Apple News, and like, nope, George did something else. Like, that's basically what just happened in this moment. And he won't
shut up. He just keeps opening his mouth and saying more dumb shit.
Oh my God, George, just stop, bud. It's not gonna work out for you, and it's not gonna work out for Don either. So keep watching that. Yeah, fingers crossed. Georgia may really put him in jail, and that is hilarious. But George also going to be put in jail just by the state of New York, unless he somehow wiggles out of it. People like him usually do. Let's hope they don't. At the very least, New York, if you're listening there, please unelect him or vote to remove him. I think Congress is the only one that can expel.
Don't re-elect him, for the love of God.
Just don't re-elect him. You got next year, and then
is that what it is next
24, year? 24. Yeah, that's all we got. I don't know. I think Congress is the only people that can expel their own members. So I don't know if they can recall him. If they can, maybe they're trying, or if he actually. I mean, it was just in May when all of these charges were not dropped. They were like made public and stuff. So, I mean, maybe it'll. Maybe more will happen in the future. Maybe by the time this is officially over in a few weeks, like it. Yeah,
I mean, none of these cases move that quickly. I feel like.
No. Like, there's a few, like, even in Donald Trump's cases, like I think 2 of them are going to be like not even going to start until May. I know one is going to start on January 2nd, and I think that's the earliest one that's going to start. But so yeah, things move slow. These might move just as slow because maybe he's been making deals. I know he pled guilty to the Brazilian money laundering that we've mentioned a couple times. So
did he? I didn't know that.
No, he did. He that was one
or
of the
he got
things.
Like a deal or something.
He got a deal because of it, and it was, I don't remember, it was so long ago at this point, but he was we'll touch on it again in the money stuff.
I can't keep them straight.
Yeah, no, it's hard to keep him straight. But he said that he would plead guilty to that because it's only like $700 in check fraud. So who knows? And that's a whole funny episode, especially with surrounding where that check came from, and also his lawyer that we're gonna get to in the grab bag next week. So stay tuned for that with the grab bag episode next week. Like I just said, like multiple times, it's a bunch of weird lies and a bunch of just weird things that aren't necessarily lies. They're just like, why did you choose that lawyer? And that's all I'm going to leave it on. So how did you find that lawyer?
Oh,
why
man.
did you find that lawyer? Can't wait to tell you about it. See you guys next week. You've been listening to I Do Not Trust This Person, Season 1, The Many Lies of New York Representative George Santos. The show is hosted and produced by Alanah Matos and Tim Philippi. The show is mixed and edited at Shway Media Studios in Austin, Texas. For a full list of news sources and music used in this episode, please refer to the show notes. I Do Not Trust This Person was created by Tim Philippi and is a production of Shway Media and America the Podcast Presents. For more information, please visit shwaymedia.com. Copyright 2023, all rights reserved.
production of Shui Media, all rights reserved. For more information, please visit shuimedia.com.